Hello, folks. This is William Randolph. It's my pleasure to be with you. And I want to just take a couple minutes to chime in on this raging conversation that I've been seeing in regards to business relationships that's happening at the beginning of this year. First, I want to just say Happy New Year to all of you. I hope 2026 is an amazing year for you. Whew, getting through 2025 was a doozy, especially in our space. So I am excited about the opportunities that may present themselves in 2026. But let's talk about this conversation that's being had around business relationships, specifically in the government contracting space. I'm hearing this theme over and over again, especially it's like it's new now that business relationships are all the rage. It's the end all be all. And I just don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's an alternative way of thinking about this that I would like to share with you. And the topic for that conversation for me is competitive advantage. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about my belief around that space. That business relationships, yes, important. I have leveraged them in the past. I have had them in the past. I've been in situations in environments where I haven't had the relationships in the past. And I will acknowledge the fact that it's extremely easy for me to have a conversation about how business relationships aren't important, having had a 30 plus year career in government contracting, worked for multiple agencies in the Department of Defense, War now, and civilian agencies, met a lot of people and have built relationships, think I'm a good person in the space. So it's very easy. I acknowledge that point, that it's very easy for me to say, relationships don't matter that much because I've had the benefit of having them in many instances. But I'd encourage you to think about not business relationships as the end all be all. Here's the way in the past now 8 years that I've been since I was retired and started my own government contracting business in the entrepreneurial side of the government contracting space, the industry side. Here's the thing that I think is the critical component. You must have a competitive advantage. Okay, you must have a competitive advantage to win in this space and to be successful in this space. You must have a competitive advantage. Okay, because the average person, the average Joe or Josephine coming into the government contracting space thinking that them being the 17th best in the space is going to equal success. That's a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream. You must have a competitive advantage. Now, one of the various flavors of competitive advantages is relationships. So if you have them, you have an opportunity to set yourself apart from your competition by leveraging the relationships. But in my opinion, I've jotted down 8 competitive advantages that I think you must have one or more of these in order to be successful in the space. So the first is initiative, action, and execution. You must be willing to do the work. And you would be surprised how just violent execution can separate you from the crowd. Okay, that's number one of the competitive advantages. Number 2 is relationships. I acknowledge the point that I've had the honor of having relationships and being in spaces where I could cultivate and grow relationships, and that in some instances, those relationships set me apart. Put a crack in the door that I could squeeze through. Those relationships help, but it's not the end all be all. Number 3, competitive advantage is new ideas, new ways of thinking about how to go about the business, new solutions, new strategies, new tactics, new processes. Coming in with new, fresh, reimagined ideas is a competitive advantage. Number 4 is past performance. Okay. In the holy grail, if you will, of government contracting is having done it before. Okay. Past performance. Having done it before. Here's number 5. past experience. Okay, there's a distinction between the two. Okay, past experience, what have you done? Past performance, how well did you do it? There's a distinction between the two. So those two, that's 4 and 5. Okay, that's a value proposition. That's a competitive advantage that can separate you from your competitors. Number 6 is adopting advanced technical solutions. So insertion of technology, AI, high-tech IT, all the things that fall into that category, machine learning, natural language processing. These are competitive advantages. When your competitors are bringing people, okay, butts in seats, maybe there are technology solutions that will be available or can be made available to execute in that space. Number 7 is pricing flexibility. The ability to aggressively price is a competitive advantage. Maybe there's something about your business model that allows you to price more effectively than your competition. That's a competitive advantage. And then number 8, which I think is the most powerful of all of them, the competitive advantage of following up. Okay, you don't know how many times I've just simply following up has been the key, the differentiator, the thing that sets our company apart from anyone else is following up. Okay, assuming you don't have to follow up suggests that you have perfect timing. That the time that you reached out, the time that you made a connection was the exact time that your customer, your potential client needed you. That you had perfect timing. That's unrealistic. So the follow-up is the opportunity to align the demand with the supply, the need with the opportunity to satisfy. So I don't believe that relationships are the end-all be-all. If you don't have them, there are 7 other competitive advantages that you can bring to the table. So I encourage you in this season, be wary of the folks that say, ooh, that the only competitive advantage is relationships. Okay, the government contracting world on both sides of the table has changed so much. So even the reliance on relationships, those folks may not be there anymore. Okay, so just be mindful of that. So I encourage you to think more in the space of competitive advantage than only the one competitive advantage of relationships. Remember, there are 8: initiative, action, and execution, relationships, new ideas, past experience, past performance, technical solutions, advanced technical solutions, pricing power, and the power of follow-up. I hope this has been helpful, and I encourage you to think about what are your competitive advantages. What is it that separates you? Stack as many as you can. Throw the relationships in there if you have them, if you can create them. But if you don't have them, that's not the death nail for your success in government contracting. All the best. Look forward to seeing and hearing about your successes in 2026. Be well.